How's it going, everyone? So every once in a while I get that vehicle that just kind of kicks my butt. I don't know why, my mind might not be into it or whatever, and I'm having a hard time figuring it out. So case in point today, actually this has been a couple days now, it's a Nissan Altima. Let me show you what I got. This vehicle right here. And customer's complaint was AC is not working. Okay, no big deal. So I get in it, sure enough, AC doesn't work. And I went and I checked static pressure on the AC system, and it was a little low, but the compressor should have kicked on. That's about as far as I got. And I did have a scanner on it, and I checked it for codes. No codes. So all of a sudden the customer says, hey, I need my car back. Something came up. All right, not a big deal. Bring it back to me. So they bring it back to me this morning. I drop it off. And I start looking at it. And AC's working fine. What the hell's going on? I put the gauges on it and I check, and it's down a little bit. So I got the pressures right where they needed to be, and took maybe a half a pound, and everything seemed to be fine. I road tested it, everything was good, nice and cold. Okay, let it sit outside for a while, took it out for another ride, everything was fine. One of the other guys here had to move it. He said the AC worked perfectly. Okay, cool. Customer comes and picks it up. Yep, AC's fine. He leaves. 5 minutes later he comes back. Guess what? AC's not working. What the heck? All right, so I get in the shop and I start looking, and AC pressures are fine. Everything's right, static pressure, because the compressor's not turning on is what's happening. Scanning it for codes, nothing. I look at ambient temperature, I look at interior temperature, I look at evaporator coil temperature. Everything is right where it's supposed to be. Compressor's not turning on. The command says compressor should be on. Okay. So I go down and I unplug the compressor and I check. I got no ground. Okay. So I'm doing this with the car running. So let me see if you can see this. Hold on. I'm doing with this running, and there's the compressor, and I'm reaching my hand up around the belt and everything else while it's running. Of course, I'm being very careful. I like to keep all my fingers if at all possible. And everything was fine except I had no ground. All right. So I go and I shut it off. I come down and I go to ohm test it again. Guess what? I got ground. Okay, I got a wiring issue somewhere here, and it's got to be right in this harness close to the AC compressor, because I didn't have it. Now all of a sudden I have it, and the only thing I really disturbed was that. Okay, so I start checking around, and what I find is this. Let me show you real quick. Now this is the harness that goes to the AC compressor clutch coil, and that's the end that's right at the coil. A little bit further down they have this connector. Why in the world they run a short jumper like this, I have no idea. Why not just run it directly to the compressor coil? So if you look closely, this looks fine. Nothing looks out of whack there. But if you look really close, you can tell one of the pins is slightly discolored. So then I go to this connector here, and sure enough, if you look close, see the one on the left? It's burned. There's my problem. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to hardwire that jumper to this harness here and be done with it. I'm going to eliminate this connector. I mean, I'm confident that's the problem. I'm not too worried about it. This car has 200,000 miles on it, which to me is absolutely amazing. Because as many of you know, I don't like Nissan. I can't stand their product. I think it's terrible. I think it's junk. But whatever. So I'm just going to hardwire it together, do a proper wiring repair. Because what's the point of having that little jumper anyway? It makes no sense to me. It doesn't do nothing. There's no resistor there. And besides, I'm going to keep the harness. I'm just going to eliminate the plug. So, I mean, if you're going to change the compressor, you got to unplug the wiring harness anyway. So let me go ahead and do that, and I'll get this thing up and running, and let's see what happens. All right, so I just want to show you that's the wiring repair right there. And I got one end, the heat shrink on it already. It's got the glue in it. It's a good marine style stuff. There, I crimped that end. I do not solder, never have. There's no reason to. Anyway, so now I'm going to heat shrink that one and put this all back together. All right, so we're all back together. The connector's plugged in. I don't know if you can see that. right there, right there. Everything's plugged back in, and let's start it up and see if it works. All right, so we're down on the ground. Let's reach inside. But of course, you got to step on the brake. Ugh. I hate Nissan. Dun, 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 dun. And the AC's on. Oh, and I just heard a compressor click. So that's a good sign. Airbags didn't blow off, so I'm happy with that. I guess I can unhook my scanner. No need to have it hooked up. Let's go back outside. Alright, so you can hear it. Hard to see from this angle. It's up in the air with it. Oops. Button's on the other side. And there we go. Compressor's running. I'm happy with that. So I know it's fixed. I know that was the problem. So, I'm going to button this thing back up and give it back to the customer. Oh, if you're getting anything on my videos, hit the like button. If you could, please subscribe. That's about it for today. You guys have a great day. Keep wrenching.